importantly, it's something that you can bring back. And she also suggested these trabalenguas, which I have been torturing my students with. Trabalenguas are great, but the trabalenguas a la tica, even greater, because I can really show them this is something that I learned. And I had to go through a number of these, and please don't make me demonstrate one right now for you. But the trabalenguas are a great way to loosen the tongue. But that was another one of the takeaways that I got from my experience, and Senora Bonaños was very generous in sharing these with me, and she pointed out where I could get them, because that's the other thing, like, where can I get these? They're not easy to get. So sometimes you have to go into the tienditas, and she's like, go to this tiendita, not that tiendita. This tiendita is for the locals, this tiendita is for the tourists. So this tiendita is going to be 2 times more than that tiendita, and that's an important thing to know as well. Also, did you have any other questions, or about the anything?
Did you hear anyone speak of the controversial issues like Costa Rica lets them go and kill sharks and things like Afghanistan?
It never got that controversial.
Okay.
Where I was hanging out, but there were other things that they were discussing a lot. But they discussed a lot. They asked us about Eric Snowden a lot. They were very concerned about us. Eric Snowden, and how upset we were. I was like, I don't know what's happening with that, because they don't have Wi-Fi, so I haven't been keeping up with it mercifully. But they were some of the things that they were concerned about for us. But I think they were mostly, at the time that I was there, which was late July, early August, they were very interested in national things. And so while I was there, it was Mother's Day. Mother's Day was the day that I left. So I missed that, but there was a whole lot of leading up to that. So they were really focused on that. And they had also celebrated the Virgen del Carmen, I believe is what it was. No, it wasn't Virgen del Carmen, I'm sorry. But they call her La Negrita, and they had their national patron saint festival at the time. And that was a big thing. That was something that was to be discussed. And then they spent a lot of time discussing a show called Combate. Combate was a national obsession. It's actually it's a live TV show where people get up and they do combat and they do little activities. It's strange, but that was something that they were very interested in. But not in nothing controversial, I suppose, because they're happy. They don't want to argue with anybody. So, okay, maybe they didn't want to talk to me about it because I was visiting.
Okay.
So sometimes, not to rain on my parade, they don't want to talk about unpleasant things. So everything was pura vida, 20s, which means too nice. Pura vida, too nice. Talk about those things. It's a little controversial. So, and you're not here to talk about that. That's what la señora. I would ask her questions like, no, you're not here to talk about that. I actually am. But any other things that you would ask me about?
So within the program, you pretty much have the freedom to choose how you spend your time and get the most of.
Absolutely. Like I showed you some of the experiences that I had specifically, but I was able to, while I was there during the time that I was there for COSI, I could do my morning activities leading up to about 1:00 p.m. and then from 1 to 4 I had my classes. And that was great for me because that also happened to be when the weather was the most unpredictable. And I knew that. So I told them, I'd rather have an afternoon class. And then in the mornings, if I wanted to walk around Quepos, or if I wanted to do an activity, I could do that. Most of the time, though, I went to the beach and I just, I had lots of conversations with people, and I did a lot of, I went back to Manuel Antonio several times. I was there quite a few times because it's such a beautiful place and you just want to soak it all in. And interesting conversations with folks from all over the world. There were a lot of folks from France there, a lot of Canadians, and so it's a very well-traveled area. But you get that spice of life as well. So yeah, you can totally do that, and you're free on the weekends. So if you have like a bigger excursion, or if you want to go to another region and then come back, there's internal transportation is pretty decent. And you can certainly customize your experience. You can go very luxe if you want, or you can do a little bit more bare bones. My time in at the COSI was I wanted to see how cheap I could be. cheap I could be. I was like, okay, I've got so many colores, and that's all I'm going to use today, and let's see what I can do with that. And then ride the bus up and down, and eat casados, and, you know, do that sort of thing. Just kind of live that kind of little bit of a beach bum lifestyle. I'm going to be honest, because it was nice. But I set that kind of limit. And then when I went back with my husband, we did a little bit more of the touristy stuff. But I could really appreciate the culture.
Do they give you a set of guidelines or requirements or things that you need to do?
Yes. In my binder over there, which you're welcome to take a look at, in the binder that I have over there, I have all of the material they gave me and all the things that I collected. They'll give you a book, and in the book, all the helpful information that you would need about buses, phone numbers, maps of the area, different tours. COSI has some tours in particular that they recommend, certain companies that they recommend, and they'll be helpful in helping you arrange those things. And oftentimes, they'll split the cost with the companies, so it's like a 50-50, so they help each other out. But it also makes it more convenient for you, that way you don't feel like you're getting ripped off and you taken advantage of. I felt very safe when I was there. And I had a little identity card that they gave me that was laminated, which is nice because it rains a lot there. It had all the basic information, and as long as I had that card, if I got stuck somewhere or somehow got separated or I needed to get somebody, I knew that I could call I had my family's phone number, I had COSI's phone number, and I had ways of contacting folks if I needed to. So, yeah, they give you all of that, and they tell you what to bring, and they give you some suggestions, and so in that way, it's good to go to a language school rather than just showing up with your bags and saying, oh, I want to learn Spanish today. They do make it a lot smoother transition for you. Any other questions? Well, let me talk about the lesson plan part, because this is the part that us teachers like to have. And one of the things that I did was create some instructional materials for my students. And one of them in particular, I think this is, let me go to my library here. One of them is called Letreros. If I can find it. Oops, I'm kind of obsessed with taking pictures. You might see that. And one of the things that I did was I created a slideshow of signs that I took. And everywhere I went, I took pictures of a sign. And my husband's like, why are you taking pictures of that? You don't understand. You're not a teacher. He's an engineer. It's not practical. It's taking up a lot of memory. But for me, that's the best realia. From that one picture, I can have a really interesting new lesson. And so I'm showing you a video that I compiled of all of my pictures. And there's a lesson plan in the packet that I gave you that goes with that, the Letreros lesson plan. And you can do one picture a day, or you can do it as an activity. I have it set up as a movie right now, but usually I will do this as a slideshow, and I can control which pictures I do. But for portability's sake, I just thought I'd put them all out there. And you know, your teachers, you're very creative, you come up with your own ways of doing these things. But this is something that I was able to do. Since I was there immersed in this, I was able to then come up with a great idea and a cool way to introduce my students to Costa Rican Spanish, which is different. They use voceo, they use ustereo, and you start to see the difference between ustereo and voceo, depending on what regions. And some of the things that I can do, when I talk about the register use in Costa Rica, which is very unique, different than my own in Puerto Rico. Everything's usted in Puerto Rico or tú. But you never do. There's no tuteo. Tuteo is just, you don't do that. People use usted instead of tú. But if you're from the Central Valley, you're going to use vos. And most of my students are like, that's not in the 501 verb book. I'm like, I know. Because back in 1991, when they asked me, vos, ¿qué pensás? I'm like, I don't know what I think. No sé. ¿Qué debo decir? And then he's like, well, you know, you're supposed to respond. And I used tú. And she's like, and then, so I had offended her. So I don't want anybody to go through that. So if I'm taking students to Costa Rica, which I am next summer, I want them to know about voceo. And so this is a great way to do it. So I'm using my letreros to teach them culture. I'm also going to use them about conversions. And you'll see some pictures where I've taken photos of some items that have numbers on there. I'm going to teach about metric conversions. I'm going to teach about currency conversions, weather conversions. It's important because 30 degrees Fahrenheit is not the same as 30 Celsius. And so, how to dress for just to impress. So here we go. I'll show you some of the letreros. I don't know if we're going to get through all of them because it might be a long video, but, or maybe, I think we'll be able to. Let me see. We'll get through the play. All right, so mi villano favorito, solo en cines. Isn't that great? La cajita feliz. McDonald's is ubiquitous. That would be in the capital city, by the way. There's no McDonald's in Quepos. Of course, Parque Nacional, Manuel Antonio, teaching my younger students to use their context clues. It's a little hard to see, but La Escuela República de Corea. I thought that was interesting. The primary school there is called República de Corea, and I was able to talk about Korea's influence on the Pacific coast of Central America, Korea and China. You can't really see these pictures here, but
I'll see if I can turn the lights up.
oh, yes, thank you. What you can do is take pictures and have the students guess based on what images are on the sign, what services this company provides. We had a lot of fun with this one. A lot of them missed preparación. Then, of course, the obvious prohibido fumar. And I love how they put the proyecto de ley on there. This one was hard to see, but most of my students were able to infer that it had to do with turning off the lights, right? So sometimes using common sense. And then, of course, I appreciate the, that sign confused me. I saw that sign and I was like, oh. All right, so here's a great one. I like this. Por favor, se va a entrar entre feliz y contento para que pueda apreciar el momento. It rhymes. Like Spanish is, it rhymes. It's beautiful. Quepos, Parrita, and Jaco. Calculate the distances in miles. This is a real problem in waterborne areas where there are crocodiles, especially near a port. So you don't want to go swimming where the boats and the fishermen come in. Here we would calculate the currency conversions. Do you really want to buy that brand of water? It's not $1, it might be $3. You have to do the conversion. There were a lot of dental clinics in Quepos. I don't know why, but there must have been a concern, a big concern. Compartí si podés, chicken McBites. And I love this because comparte si puedes is what they call it in Puerto Rico. That's the advertising slogan, but they customized it to Costa Rica because comparte si puedes is going to insult everybody. Now I'm talking to you in detail. Variedades, trying to get my students to figure out what is a variedades store. This is the Centro Comercial. This would be the mall. That's it. You have your Subway and your GNC. Who's the clientele? What's a joyería and relojería? Well, most of my students thought it was a cheese shop. And there was an interesting obsession with things Colombian and Peruvian. So it's a panadería colombiana instead of a French, bakery. It's a Colombian bakery. Zapatería. Everybody got this one. That's a shoe store. This one was hard to see, but desfile de boyeros, this would be an opportunity to talk about what is a boyero. And I don't know yet what that is. Nobody answered my question. Primeros auxilios, an important sign to be able to find if you're traveling abroad. That's a soda. When you see people gathering together like that, that's a good place to eat. And so I was talking about, if you're driving along somewhere and you see a lot of cars gathered in a little place like that, that's a comidete, we call it in Puerto Rico, eat and run. That's a soda in Costa Rica. The foods. Of course, lots of food pictures. Likey Gert, what is this food product? And of course, all the tiquismos that you can find. Pura vida, al chile. What's this? And that was Hotel La Posada. I actually stayed in that particular spot when I was there with my husband on my second trip. And it actually is a very nice place right there by the entrance. We have a very lively conversation here about the signs that you see in bathrooms. This one is a very important one. Por favor, no tire el papel en el inodoro. And we had some conversations